welcome to lecture for us today, Klaus Kongsdal.
Here we are. Good afternoon, everybody. Wow, very good, very good. You know, it was funny when I sat down to write the opening line. I thought, you know, those things that when you attend lectures, often you hear the sort of same opening line. And people say, it gives me great pleasure to stand here today. And I thought, yeah, that's absolutely not true. It gives me great anxiety and nervousness to stand here today and to talk to you. But what it is an honor, and it's an honor to be invited and to be able to spend the next half an hour with you to talk about a subject that's very close to my heart, and I believe very close to the core of what it is that we do, and that is partnering. There's no doubt that partnering was at the very creation of our dance form. It is something that we talk about every day in practice, in lessons, and it is something that I think is highly, highly personal. How we partner, I think, is very different from person to person, from couple to couple, partnership to partnership. But it's so interesting for me that even today we are introduced into competitions as a partnership. I think that in order for us to build it up and build up a knowledge of this, we have to be able to partner on many different human levels. I think we have to be able to partner on a physical level. We have to partner on a mental level. And in the end, also to be able to partner on an emotional level. So what I would like to try to do today is to give some suggestions of things that I have discovered or learned in my career. And I thought, you know, I don't want to be the only one nervous standing up here on stage. So I asked someone to come and assist me, and I know they'll be very nervous too. So please welcome Sam and Irina. If we talk about physical partnering, for me that is the thing that we learn as dancers. It's something that is taught to us. We intellectualize it, we understand it, we practice it, we repeat it again and again and again, and it is very much, I think, also connected to the basic action of the dance. The first thing that we have to do is that we have to be actually connected in our own body. And I think that for me is the best example I can give is always when you all flew in today, or yesterday, or whenever you arrived, you were given a security brief on the plane. And you know they talk about the masks coming down, and they say to you, please make sure that you put on your own mask before you assist anyone else. And I think that's quite essential for what we do in dancing as well. If I am okay in myself, I have a pretty good chance to partner and to help. So, Sam has very graciously agreed to help me with this because I'm certainly not going to do it. But the exercise I like to use is a very dear push-up. Nice. Now, how long can you stay, Sam? But if we notice already, we can see that Sam has a very strong connection from his center just below his belly button to the center at his collarbone. We can see that he's connected through the back of his arms and his back here. Now, if we ask him to lower very slowly. Oh, we want him to still keep the same connection. So what is happening is not that he's getting any more heavy, although it feels like that, right, Sam? Yeah. What is happening instead is that the muscle intensity is increasing. Let's get up again. Very good. Okay, now give us 20. Yeah. So, if we think about that, and we want to do that in a partnership, I like this exercise. So I will now be Sam's floor, and he will be my floor. And once we've established a nice contact, so the spines are already against each other, which means there's already X amount of contact in the hand, it is now fairly easy for us to connect in. Don't be nervous. Come on, come on. There we go. Come on. Nice and easy. No kissing. And back. So what it does, it actually does not feel heavy at all. It feels strong. It feels connected. And it feels safe because although we are giving each other body weight, we are giving it through our own control. So that means that I should now also be able to control, or Sam can control, if I move into the frame. Or I can control Sam to move into the frame. That's it. And I still have him. Don't worry, stay. I still have him, so we can easily get further. Don't worry, come on. Further, no problem. And I guarantee you he doesn't feel heavy. So, that for me works everywhere. It doesn't matter where I place the hand, it will be the same thing. If we had this connection now, I would still be thinking of the two sides and my centers connecting in. And it should be exactly the same. Very good. And naturally it also works opposite. This is your favorite one, right? Here we go. Once we have body weight, it feels safe enough. You feel safe? Go on then. That's it. And we can change it. Very nice. And let's get up again. And slightly muscular in the end. Very good. So out of this principle, I think that it works really easy for me to have that sense that once we have body weight towards each other, or away from each other, we can increase it quite safely. It doesn't feel dangerous, and it doesn't feel heavy. It's one of those words that you hear, particularly men say very often, it doesn't feel, or she feels heavy. For me, we get heavy in two instances. The first instance is if I don't have the connection, but I give my body weight. Yeah. If I don't have both sides connected in. So these are the things. Or if I'm going backwards and I decide to engage my biceps. That for me is heavy because I no longer can control it, just using my own muscles and my own body weight. So we wanted to see if we can take that into dancing a little bit. For me, in general, it is about creating a system. And once we have learned the system, we can then start to use the system. So, like I said, it is the physical partnering. It takes time, it takes practice, and it takes understanding. So, if I can ask you to come in, we're just going to do a back basic in rumba. Now, the simple difference between moving forward and moving backwards in rumba is that if I move forward, the first thing that moves is my body weight. And if I move backwards, the last thing that moves is my body weight. So just by the sheer basic action of it, we should already sense an increase of tension. We're not talking necessarily about a lot of weight, but it gets more intense inside the hand. Yeah, Sam will come closer to the frame. Arena will not move. She will take the step. Yeah. Sam is now continuing onto the foot. So is Arena. We are now actually quite a lot closer. Yeah. If we take the next step. Now we have stopped. Sam will change direction. Arena will allow herself to feel the heel of the foot so she can change direction when he does. Very nice. Yeah, I think it's very clear. Very clear. So, in the creation of that system, in the feeling that we are not afraid to share body weight, that's when I think that the magic of the partnering starts to happen. Because once I understand this, and I can put it together with musical timing, that's when I think that this becomes fun. This seems quite exercising, yes? it's sort of, okay, I have to do it and I have to learn it. But the minute they start to use it, I think they will get a total different sense of the partnering. So we've created a small group of steps, fairly basic or semi-basic, we can call them. And what they have is, they have a lot of turns. So within what we just spoke about, if I ask Arina to overturn and turn back to me now, I can choose either to turn her very early on the step, so she's high. So if this is the beat 2, I will turn her on the T of the 2. Hup. And now I have W-O-A-N-D to lower her and have a rotational body action. Mm-hmm. So this in general feels like I'm turning her from a high point and lowering her later. Or I can choose to turn her much later on the rotational action of the hip. So Arina will step into it, she will get right onto the foot, settle into the hip, and I'll turn her at a much later stage, which again has much more body weight between us in that very moment. Yeah? So we'll try and do a little group of steps with no music first, and I ask you just to do everything and turn Arina on the very early part of the beat. Very nice. So I think it's very clear. And of course we even took some liberties there. We in the open hip twist, we decided to turn very early, so the walking action became much less clear. Yeah? Now, let's see if we can do this to music.
Porque tu amor es mi espina, por las 4 esquinas hablan de los dos, que es un escándalo dicen y hasta me maldicen por
Very nice. Very nice. So we can see very, very high turn, and we have a lot of time to settle into it. Now let's see if we do the opposite. So with no music, and this time we'll turn very late, so with a lot more influence of body weight. So even in this forward check action now, if you can allow where you first arrived almost towards each other, if you this time can allow her to get to the pull slightly earlier, so we have more and more deep, more full action. Very good. Yeah, I think very clear to see that she walks much further with body weight. So let's see if we can do that to music as well.
porque tu amor es mi espina. Por las cuatro esquinas hablan de los dos, que es un escándalo dicen, y hasta me maldicen por darte mi amor.
So what I normally suggest to the couples is that we have to, in the beginning, I believe, make quite clear choices about this. And I think it takes quite a bit of time for us to actually be able to do this on the spot. So in general, we make a choreographical choice. Do you want to get deeper into the hip action, more with the body weight onto the foot before I turn? Or do we want to turn earlier and then have the settlement after we've turned? I think it could be quite fun, since you are not nervous or anything like that, to just ask you to do it right now. Yeah? So if you just have to pick it up on a spot right now, which choices would come up? Yeah? Let's see. Can we have it with music straight away?
Porque tu amor es mi espina. Por las cuatro esquinas hablan de los dos, que es un escándalo dicen, y hasta me maldicen por dar.
So as you can see as well, that very often what happens is that dancers will have a certain way of doing this that they're partial to. I think it's quite clear when you see Sam and Arena dance that they're quite partial to the one with the body weight and a slightly heavier action. At least that was the one that came up the most in this. And that's when I say that it becomes much more part of your personal style, the choices that you make in your choreography in terms of when you want these turns to happen. So once we have established, I think, a good sense of knowledge and a good set of knowledge, good system for our physical partnering, I think that is when we can start to talk about the mental partnering. For me, mental partnering means that we have a shared goal. And when I say goal, I mean in terms of what it is that we want to achieve in dancing. What is the feeling that we would like to achieve for ourselves? What is the image that we would like for people to have of us? I think that we have had to gone through some experiments, some time. We have to know each other on a mental level. We have to know the general way that we react. And I think that's when the mental partnering starts to happen. It happens as much off the floor as on the floor. And I also like to call this maybe a little bit more of a human partnering. Because what happens is that we start to react on instinct rather than on intellect. So what do I use for this? And I think I use absolutely everything. I use my human knowledge that's been given to me since I was born. The way your mother held you. The way you learned to walk. How much pressure was in the hands that held you when you learned to walk. Yeah? What is the feeling when we meet someone new, if we have to do business together? Nice to meet you. Very nice. Yeah, or someone that we know quite well. We can allow this closeness. It's okay. Don't be nervous. There's a certain sense of, we know exactly. And we also know when we meet people who sort of have a tendency to infringe on this. It happens very quickly. You know the people that give you the hand without shaking it? And you think, oh, I just want to really squeeze it. Or we know the opposite, the guy who meets you and go, how are you? Nice to meet you. We think, oh, yeah. I have a very good friend at home. And we normally joke because I don't know what happened to him in his childhood, but he's what I like to call he's a close talker. So if you're going in, Sam, so when he talks to you, he gets very close. He says, so how are you? You're feeling good? And it already feels wrong. So what happens then is that if we are connecting ourselves from a more of a mental level, already as I take the hand, there's already a lot of information passing through. Yeah, in the way that she looks, she says, I'm ready, I have no idea what you're going to do, and I'm making no decisions, I'm very much the student. I got all of that from this touch. Yeah? So I used to say in workshops or lessons that this is a telephone line, and we are talking and listening. But it became clear to me that I'm very old-fashioned because some of the kids have never seen a phone with a line. So we've now established that it's not. This is a fiber optic, high-speed internet broadband line. Okay? And I'm uploading and downloading masses of gigabytes constantly. But through that, with Arena telling me, I'm not really sure what's going to happen, I'm not quite, we will see, I think that I should be able to tell her, it's okay, don't worry. And already it feels much more safe. Yeah? So the human partnering, yeah, I can ask her very simple, please rise a little bit with me. Please lower. Yeah? It's all just through the contact of the hand. Mm-hmm. I can tell her, it's okay. I can say, let's go over here. Mm-hmm. It's the best thing in competitions, that thing. We say, okay, we're going. Yeah. Instead of maybe I could say, hello, I know where I'm going. I know where I would like you to be. There's a lot of safety involved. And I only learned this the hard way because I would come off after first dancing competition and feeling great, and Victoria would look at me and say, do you think you could walk on the floor with me like I actually matter? So there's a certain sense of that it is going to be okay. So I decided to do this little test or this little exercise to see if I, with just very minimal of effort myself, which I quite like nowadays. You know, when I moved to London, I was fortunate enough to have lessons with an already older gentleman at the time. And he would be able to hold the girl with one hand and a cigar with the other and be about here. And he would make her feel great. And I always used to think, I'm doing everything, and she's still complaining. And of course it is experience and knowledge and understanding, but also this human thing of, it's okay, just move. So we've made a little bit of fun, and here we go, we'll see if it works out. Can I have the music, please?
Porque tu amor es mi espina, por las cuatro esquinas hablan de los dos, que es un escándalo dicen, y hasta me maldicen por darte mi amor. No hagas caso de la gente, sigue la corriente y quiéreme más.
So relatively minimum effort, although a lot of concentration, I'm not going to lie. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to help me to thank Sam and Arena very much for helping me today. And I just wanted to come here because it feels a bit more safe down here and talk to you a little bit about emotional partnering. Because for me, emotional partnering really requires longevity. It requires that we have experienced emotions together It requires that we respect the partnership above ourselves in a way. I'm not more important than the partnership. It requires that we are willing to open ourselves up to another person. And I think that it requires that we give partnership a value in itself. So not just a result value, but the value of dancing for the sake of dancing. I know it's very easy to say, this week we're all here for the result and the big competitions. But you know the value of the development of the dance itself. We live in, I think, a society where things tend to move really fast. My parents still talk about the fact that they used to have 2 television channels. And now they have 200. So I think it's called the remote control society. Yeah, if we don't like this, we switch over very quickly. And I think a lot of these things that I talked about today are quite difficult to achieve. It requires an effort. It requires that I'm serious about it, that I want it. You know, and it's the same with everything in dancing. If I have difficult footwork in the ballroom, does that mean I should not do it? If I have a difficult body timing in a Latin, does that mean I should not do it? Or if I have a partnership that sometimes goes through difficult times, does it mean I should give up? I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I believe that this partnership is something that is, you know, such a core to our dancing. And I'm very, very happy to have had a partnership, you know, that still goes on today. And I must say that that is one of the great things about actually being back to being resident of this country, is that I go to work in a studio where I see all these partnerships. You know, that it doesn't matter what we have gone through, what we have experienced, we have battled together, we've stood by each other, and still today it's partnerships. When I come to competitions and I see my former teachers who are partnerships, you know, and I'm not saying that you have to, it's not about the private partnerships, it's about the dancing sense, it's about the business, that we put it above, that even in the hard times, it still works. Because then I think something really magical can happen. And I do think that partnering, when we do it well, is a timeless quality. It's something we can do again and again. We can feel it again and again, and we can watch it again and again. So I think that can only happen if we really are willing to go through the hard times as well. I had to sit down because I speak much more serious when I sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for listening to me. And now I can actually say that it was a pleasure to be here. I wish you all the best for the week. I want to thank the BDFI for inviting me to talk to you today. And I wish all dancers, competitors, judges, audience, people who are coming to party, that UK will be everything you want. So thank you very much.